It was a disappointing goal, wasn't it? But Spurs at this point, they were really imposing themselves, weren't they?
Yeah, they'd caught us on the break a few times, and you know they've won it again in midfield. You know, a quick through ball, releasing the player, a little bit of skill, takes the shot, clear deflection, and goes into the top corner. It's hard for the goalie.
And at this point, Lucas, it would have been easy for heads to go down, wouldn't it? And for us to feel defeated. But the character and strength that this Leeds United side showed to go on to score after that, so quickly after that, was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're saying, Emma. You know, the way we came back in that quick time, you know, at least the momentum, we carried the momentum again, you know, which give us that opportunity as well to, you know, to have hope, and then to move forward. And we created 2 chances, and then we equalized. And you know, as I said, with the atmosphere, with the fans behind you, you know, everybody, was thinking, okay, there we go. We're back in the game against great character. The boys are working hard. You know, we've got a chance here.
Yeah, it showed that real tenacity, didn't it? Let's have a look at that Noah Okafor goal. I just want to see that now and go back to something you said earlier, Nigel, about Sean Longstaff. Just shouting over to him, well done, you know, expressing encouragement and enthusiasm towards him, and how important that is for a player like Noah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're a winger and you're running at defenders, you need that confidence to do it. You know, the step overs and things that he does is very confusing for a defender. But you know, if it's not coming off and it's not your day, it's difficult to keep doing it. So it's important, you know, for a teammate to recognise when you've done something well and tell you. You know, it would be probably one of the easiest goals he'll get to score. But you know, it was some good build-up play, a good shot that was deflected again. I think, you know, the goalie perhaps could have parried it wider, but he's teed it up, and Okafor's got a nice little tap in.
Yeah, what did you make of his performance as a whole in that game, Lucas?
Yeah, I think he did well. He tried. He tried most of the game, even if, you know, he was losing the ball, but, you know, I was happy that he was losing the ball in the other side, on the other half. But I think that by him, you know, persevering, you know, getting into, still not being disappointed and getting into that space and behind the defenders. I mean, I think he did well, obviously. You know, he at least the chances that we could have created then. You know, I mean, at some point, Nigel said, you know, he went into the box and then he nutmegs one of the players. I thought then, you know, when he could have at least got himself a goal, but I think he learned from those situations.
And actually, Nigel, at the break, we were quite satisfied going in, weren't we, at 1-1?
Yeah, it was a fair reflection of the first half. You know, we started well, they came into it, created chances, and then we finished the half strongly again. And the second half had a very, very similar pattern, really.
Just unfortunately.
Yeah, they just got the goal and we didn't.
Yeah, we heard Bryn Law call it a cruel deflection, and that is exactly how it felt when that Kudus goal went in, isn't it?
You know, you feel hard done by, you know, when you consider goals like that. It's hard because, you know, I mean, in one of those goals, I mean, there was 2 defenders against one, and you're trying by all means to make sure that, you know, they don't get a shot, but unfortunately, the deflection, you know, deceives the goalkeeper, which it makes it really heartbreaking.
But also, you know, kudos to Kudus, because he was a danger, really, for a lot of that game, wasn't
he was a threat pretty much throughout the whole game. You know, first half, you know, he had flashes of showing us what he could do. And, you know, he's cut inside there, he struck it well. But again, you know, gets the aid of a deflection. And from a goalkeeping point of view, you know, you're set to where it's struck initially, and, you know, all the body weight is going the wrong way once the deflection happens.
Well, we'll look for some more positives shortly, but first, let's head outside to the tunnel and catch up with our commentary team for today, Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo.
Cheers, Emma. I'm not sure you're going to get too many positives down here. Go on, give us a positive, Tony. What's a positive we can reflect on after that one?
Well, I think clearly that the boys need to learn one or two things in that it's a cruel league. You've got to be concentrated, every single time. But when you do get opportunities, you have to take more than you miss. And I think today, looking at the start of the game, then looking at the start of the second half, it's not as if we didn't have those opportunities. Okay, Spurs always look dangerous. On the break, they were very good, and they clearly have some 50, 60 million pound players that should cause us problems, and they did. But at the same time, we still battled with them, made our opportunity as well, but didn't make them count. And at the end, that second half, just a little bit disappointed when we're looking at the quality that you need to try and either get back into a game or win a game. I didn't think we quite had it.
2 weeks to mull over the fact that both goals went in with big touches off Leeds players as well, which doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't. The first one, definitely Darlow had no chance with that. As soon as you make a move as a keeper, obviously Nigel will explain better than I can, but it was always difficult for Darlow to keep that one out. Second one, I thought Darlow was moving anyway, but again, the deflection just put it in the back of the net. These things happen. Don't like to call it kind of bad luck, but you need to make your own luck as well, and we didn't quite do that.
The players have kind of got to pick themselves up. There's a long break between the next game now, and what's the bit that they need to reflect on ahead of that return to action at Burnley?
I think it's frustrating in that there is such a big gap between games as well. But also, it's a time to go away with your country, get your mind elsewhere, and then come back refreshed and raring to go, because that is a big game. I keep saying that. There's big games every single game, but that one's a particularly big game. So, yeah, it's important that they go away, think about it, refreshed, and come back firing.
I mean, you would say that they've gone pretty much toe-to-toe. Well, Bournemouth first, who were fourth when they arrived or whatever. Yeah. And then Spurs have come in today, top 5 team as well. And there's not been much in it in either game, has there? I mean, both could have ended up either one way or the other. Leeds win, Leeds defeat, or a draw.
Yeah, we're spirited. We're a strong group. Absolutely. We have to recover when we get a setback in the game, but we do that. We come back extremely well, and at 1-0, you're thinking, okay, how are we going to respond again? Brilliantly. We come back with a goal. So we've got that fight, we've got that organisation and hunger about us. Just got to find that extra little bit in the Premier League. But the boys will take some comfort from that. But at the moment, they'll be thinking, well, we should have probably got something from that game.
Hopefully be hearing from somebody who's come from the dressing room fairly shortly.
Well, Tony managed to find a few positives there, I think, didn't he? One of them being that, we've gone toe-to-toe in the last few weeks with some really good teams, haven't we, Lucas?
Yeah, definitely. I think for us it's even better. We get them this time of the year where we know that we can improve and do better. And I think this Spurs team is one of those, as I said, it's a top 5 team. And I think we did, at some point, battle with them. And we were just unlucky. To be honest, I think we were just unlucky not to get at least a result from this one.
I think Tony was right as well when he touched on the frustration of having a big gap between games now, isn't he, Nigel?
Yeah, you want to get straight back on the bike really and have another go and make sure you turn this around and put it right. Players will now fly off to different parts of the world, and we just hopefully none of them get injured while they're away, and they come back fit and strong, and we've got a very tough game against Burnley coming up, and one that we're going to need a result in.
Yeah, it's a massive game for this game against Burnley. We'll talk about that shortly, but going back to this game, Lucas, we saw Daniel make some changes with about 12 minutes to go towards the end. He brought on some attacking players. What were your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I think sometimes it's, we make substitution because then we're chasing the game. I think it'd be nice to get a substitution knowing that at least now we need to be solid. We need to, maybe to try and get another goal. But I think at the end of the day, we needed somebody who will just go up front, because we saw Dom, he was struggling up front on his own, was battling around with the players. But to be honest, I think it was good, but we could have been better.
Do you agree with that, Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, we had to make the changes because we were chasing the game. You went to 3 at the back at the end, which, pushes an extra player forward, makes you slightly more susceptible to the break. But at 2-1, you've got to go for it. It almost worked. We could have been saying what a great substitutions they were. Had Joel Peru's shot actually gone in, and Vicario doesn't make that save. So I think they were positive and made for the right reasons, and very nearly worked.
Well, look, I'm delighted to say that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is joining us in the tunnel right now. Dominic, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
How do you reflect on that performance?
Obviously a frustrating afternoon. I think given the work we put in to get ourselves in a good position, I think probably Spurs scored against the run of play, and then we worked hard, and chances from myself and others that on another day we should put in the back of the net, and ultimately this is the Premier League, so you get punished.
Hi Dom, Nigel Martin here. Look, you had some really good chances. The one that you had in the second half on the turn, you struck it really well, got a slight deflection. Goalie made a really good save. I think their keepers actually won them 3 points for them today with that save and the one right at the very end from Joel.
Yeah, look, when I get chances I expect myself to put them away, so no one expects more from myself than myself. So I think it was a good save from the goalie. And he put in a good performance, but like I say, we had chances, and this is the Premier League, so you have to take them.
Yeah. Oh, Dom, Lucas here. I just want to know that especially after the Bournemouth game, how did you feel going into this one? Was there a pressure for you guys to get the result, on knowing it's a difficult opposition as well?
I wouldn't say pressure, just expectation from ourselves to continue the momentum that we've built. I think we should have got a better result against Bournemouth, and we went into this game full of confidence, as we will go into the next one. I think probably as a newly promoted side, people statistically, say it's going to be as harder for us than it is for other teams that are already in the Premier League, but I think we've showcased what we're capable of and how we can compete at this level, and even against teams like Spurs, Newcastle, good established Premier League sides that play in Europe, we've shown that on other days we could get better results, and I think we have to take confidence from that.
Yeah, performances have been really good. The last two home games, we've created chances and been unlucky. Like you said, the Bournemouth game would have been nice to have hung on to that. I'd perhaps like for you to have stayed on a little bit longer on that one, and you might have headed it out. But the performances have been in both games have been really good, and that's the important thing going forward.
Yeah, I think it's important to stay balanced. When you win, it's important not to get carried away. When you lose, it's important to not get too down about it. And it's a long season. There's 31 games left and 31 chances for us to go and get 3 points. And I'm happy with the start to the season that we've had. And like I say, fine margins, and that's the way it goes in the Premier League. So we'll be looking to turn those fine margins that have perhaps gone against us into our favour, and if you keep doing the basics and doing the right things over the course of a season, it pays you back.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Calvin. I think you guys have played well, you battled well, you showed the character, through the games, and obviously there's going to be tough games coming up. Is the manager worried about that, or how is that panning out in the training?
We're preparing for every game as normal. I think since the day I walked into the building, it's very consistent with how we approach games and how we prepare to beat the opposition. The manager's been successful in the past, and he's a well-established manager that knows what he's doing. And I think me coming into the building, I've been really impressed with the level of detail that we're given going into a match day, and it's probably more than I've had in the past. So I go in knowing my role, and we go in knowing our roles as a collective, and I think good preparation breeds confidence, so that's how we go into games.
Dominic, you seem to be really enjoying playing your football here at Leeds United, but from your point of view as an individual, how much are you enjoying it, and how much do you feel that you've slotted into this side?
Truthfully, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I think you can generally see that in the way that I play. I'm enjoying, being in a new environment, the feeling of the football club, familiar Yorkshire accents and things like that. So simple things like that, really. From my first day, I felt at home, and I perhaps didn't expect to feel that way, but I think the way I've been received by the fans also, I think now that they've got to see me play in a Leeds shirt, I like to think that they're starting to get behind me even more and more, and I can feel that. So I'm just, every time I'm going on the pitch at the moment, looking to affect the game, lead the line properly and score goals. We are absolutely behind you. We love watching you. Dominic, thank you so much for chatting to us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care. Thank you. Dominic Calvert-Lewin there. And it's really encouraging, actually, hearing talk about how easy it's been for him to slot into this side and how well received he's been by the Leeds United fans. Because you two will know from your playing days here, that is so important to feel accepted, isn't it?
Yeah, I think when you move to a club, you're keen to win over a new set of supporters. That's your first job that you have to do. And you do that by showing them how much it matters to you and how much you care about, the team that you're playing for. And Dominic shows that in, absolutely all over the pitch. He runs, he wins his headers, he works extremely hard, in both boxes. He comes back and wins headers in our box as well. And he creates chances, and he's managed to get a goal. We'd like to have seen one or two more, but he's putting himself in those positions, and just at the moment the goalkeepers are just saving one or two, but I'm sure it'll start coming for him again.
Lucas, you were talking to him about, the game against Bournemouth, and did he feel any pressure heading into this game? Well, now we look ahead to Burnley, I guess, with a similar viewpoint, really. Yeah. It's already a game where it feels like there's a lot at stake purely because of who the opposition are. It feels like a game that we should be winning. But as a player, how much added pressure is there on them now for this game in a fortnight?
Yeah, I think as you said, that the confidence is there, the preparations, and I think, yes, it's early doors. I think they will be aware that, I think the build-up towards other games will be. I think they'll get more confident into the game. They'll get together more, and I think they'll get it right. I think there's a lot of hope. I mean, I've seen some great play, and especially with that character, I think they will approach these games, without fear. And as Nigel has said, going out there and giving up your best in front of your home crowd. I think winning the support. I mean, it goes through the whole team, and and once you get the result, the positive result, and then you can see the improvement, and the results will come as you play.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, most of the time, Leeds United fans, as long as you're playing for the badge and you're playing with passion and determination, you're forgiven on days like this when results don't necessarily go our way. But what are the key things, do you think, Nigel, that Daniel Farke will be working with them on, will be drilling into them between now and that game against Burnley?
Don't give away so many deflections. No, no. I mean, that's people working hard trying to block shots, and Lucas will know. That's the job of a defender is to block those shots. Just today, it's just deflected badly for us, and that's disappointing. But going forward, they've got to have the belief that they belong here. They've shown in lots of games that they do. Burnley is going to be a hard game, actually, because Burnley are going to fancy this is a game that they can win.
Exactly.
So it is going to be a big game. It won't be easy, but I'm sure the lads will be up for it.
Well, let's see if Daniel Farke's up for it, shall we? He's with Brynlaw in the tunnel.
Yes, Daniel's with me now. Daniel, take away disappointing outcome. What do you think of the performance?
Yeah, the problem is I can't take away at this moment the disappointing outcome because there are no pictures on the table, and you want to win points and you play for points. So the initial feelings, of course, we are disappointed. If we take this a bit to the side, just compliments to the lads we have played today, a side who has just played on Champions League level. They are in the same Champions League positions at the moment, one of the top sides. And we were the better side today in all aspects. We dominated possession, had more shots on target, more chances, more expected goals, more corners. In all aspects, we have dominated this game. It should have, even with the draw, would have been disappointed after such a performance and so many chances. But yeah, on this level, we had one mistake per half-time, both time punished with a deflected goal. Also, yes, you can blame the fate and unlucky, but yeah, more or less on this level, sometimes one mistake is punished, and we've missed too many of our chances to win points today. I'm happy with the performance. I'm proud of the boys that we are coming so far that we are capable to dominate a really good Tottenham side and be the better side in all aspects. But of course, at the moment, we are all disappointed.
I think the word efficiency has been used when we've chatted previously. It's another element today, perhaps, with those big moments, there's big chances created.
Yes, if you play against the top side and you have chances like today, Joe Roden on the post in the first half. Dominic had a great chance. Sean Longstaff, a great shooting position. Also second half, Dominic again, a great chance, top save of their goalkeeper. Joel Pirot, top save of their goalkeeper. The ball through the box, 2 inches missing. Sean Longstaff, another great chance. Pascal with a header. Not sure many situations in the last minute. So normally enough to win this game, not just to draw it, which would have been also a valuable point against Tottenham, but normally enough to win it. And yes, I can't blame the performance, not at all. So it was just not to be. It's a bit effectiveness to be then also clinical. I think in 2 or 3 more situations we should have at least hit the target anyhow. So Vicario was there in 2 or 3 situations with top saves, but if he hit the target also in the other situations, then I'm sure we would have scored a goal, but was not to be today.
Are you pleased to have an international break now or not? Is that frustrating?
Depends on how the outcome is. So if our injured players will come back out of their rehab would help. I'm not sure if this really will happen, and if everyone comes through this international break without injuries, then it's good. If they are coming back with injuries, would be a problem because we can't afford any more injuries, especially not in our offense. So we take it as it is. The international break is right now. We take it for a bit recovery, then for good training days, and then we are ready to go again, because if we deliver further on this type of performances, we have all right to stay in this league. We have all right and all chances to win many points. We were today the better side, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Do you know what? It's great to hear Daniel Farke talking so positively there, isn't it? Nigel, as a player, how much confidence does that instill in you? Because they'll probably hear that, let's be honest. As a player, it must be really reassuring when you hear your manager talk like that.
Yeah, definitely. It sort of says how well you've done out on the pitch. Okay, the results, not what we want or what they'd want as a group, but you know, the performance is there, and that's the thing that you can guarantee every week is your performance. And the performance was good today. Like you said, they created a lot of chances, but they've got to learn to start putting them away at some point, otherwise the season will get long.
Look, Daniel Farke is someone that we've spoken about so much. Obviously, he's done great things already with this Leeds United side, Lucas. What have you made of him so far in the Premier League as a manager?
Yeah, I think, I've seen him with Norwich, and I've heard of him. And I think, and I met him, such a nice guy.
He's
actually,
lovely,
absolutely
isn't he?
brilliant, nice, very, very nice guy. But again, listening to him there, he's backing his players. I think they've got something they're working on here. Do you know what I mean? And you could see it's a bit about the results. Once they can start getting those results, and the consistency in getting results, because they're playing well. Already I can see some light, and I can see some enjoyment. I mean, Dominic has said as well that, coming into the team, and he's coming, and the reception has been great in the dressing room. I think that's a big thing, and that's because of the coach, the manager, Mr. Farke.
Yeah, he's a huge role in that, isn't he?
No, he has a huge impact on those players, and I think it's great that if they hear what he said, I think it will leave them even better, and they will play for him. They will work hard, to get the result that's needed.
Well, look, lads, a good performance, not the result we wanted, but have you both enjoyed yourselves here on LUTV?
Yeah, it's great coming back. It's always great coming back to Ellen Road and stirring up memories. Great to see my very good friend Lucas, because we haven't seen each other for quite a while, so that was great to catch up and enjoyed the day. Yeah.
And Lucas, will you be back?
Oh yeah, it makes me feel like I'm at home already, and it's great to be seeing familiar faces and being here with the guys, and it's absolutely great. I'm really excited about this.
It's been an absolute joy having you both with us. Thank you so much. Look, it ends Leeds United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. We'll be back with you in a fortnight for that game against Burnley, bringing you all the build-up from 2:30 here on LUTV. Have a good weekend.